Ready now? Morning, everyone, and to our televiewers, our YouTube account, DPWH Lanao. This morning, we will be conducting the previous conference for project 26-0049 repeat, 26-0015 repeat, 20-0036 repeat, and 26-0054 repeat. But before we formally start this repeat conference, may we have our silent prayer, after which is the roll call of the attendees by the procurement by Bank Secretariat ng Pyron Daigloso.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to acknowledge the attendees of the private conference. We start with the back chairperson, Johnny B. Mamainte.
Present.
Back chairperson, Amronzaman Makaminis. Back provisional member, Sonora Limbona. Back provisional member, Narjian Macabando.
Present.
Back secretariat, Elizabeth Banyasha.
Present.
Back secretariat, Naing Mautis Bari.
Present.
Back DWG Abdullah Jalaluddin.
Present.
Back DWG Abdul Madid Amay Romag.
Present.
Back Secretariat Nohanida Mamusaka.
Present.
Back Secretariat Anwera Jamel.
Present.
Back Secretariat Zora Bani. Head of Procurement Staff Hamima M. Sambitori. And lastly, Ferosa Idrosa from Back Secretariat. That is all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This pre-bid conference is conducted pursuant to RA 12009 under section 51, which requires the providing entity to conduct pre-bid conference to mainly discuss, clarify, and explain about the eligibility requirements, technical components, and financial components. Among others, it includes also the discussion of activities in awarding of contracts once project is bid. Importantly, this is the right time for discussion from the prospective bidders before the opening of bids. Since the back member is the forum, we may now start to discuss the following: contract data, technical and financial proposal, eligibility requirements, and awarding of contract for the DPWH and the Secretary and Payment Proceedings.
Good morning. The DPWH Lanao, the Norte Second Frequency Area, is through its bids and awards committee now invites bids for the underworks for the project bridge program rehabilitation major repair of permanent bridge, Butanon Bridge, BO B00969 and along Linamusa Luanga Road, Phase 2, with a contract ID number 26EF0049 3B. The location of the project of Lanao Del Norte. The scope of works, facilities for the engineer, other general requirements, bridge construction, with the approved budget for the contract, 14,164,639 pesos and 92 centavos. The cost of bidding document, 15,000 pesos, with the contract duration of 102 calendar days. For the second project, bridge program rehabilitation, major repair for permanent bridge, route and bridge, B00964 and along Dinamon Sambong Road, Phase 2, with the contract ID number 26EF0050 3B. The location of the project at Lanao Del Norte. With for the scope of works, facilities for the engineer, other general requirements, in bridge construction. The approved budget for the contract, 10,271,584 pesos and 50 centavos. Cost of bidding document is 15,000 pesos. For the third project, asset reservation, maintenance, in a longer road. 1607 plus to station 7 plus 263 with the contract ID number 36 secondary bid. Creation of the project at Tatagan, Lanao Del Norte. For the scope of works, facility for the engineer, general surface process, and miscellaneous approved budget for the contract, 13,858,508 pesos and 9 centavos. Cost of bidding document, 15,000 pesos. The contract duration of 50 calendar days. For the license category B, for license classification, small b. For the last project, construction, improvement of access roads leading to trades, industries, and economic zones, or leveraging linkages for industry and trade infrastructure program, or the ROLF, Barangay Pinoya, El Salvador, Lanao Ilaya Road in support of the Calamansi processing plant. Barangay Pinoya, section station 3+275 to station 3+418. With a contract ID number 26TF0054 the location of the project, Lanao Del Norte. For the scope of works, facilities for the engineer, other general requirements, earthworks, sub-base and base course, surface courses, and miscellaneous structure. Approved budget for the contract, 4,620,797 pesos and 61 centavos. Cost of bidding document is 5,000 pesos with a contract duration 52 calendar days. For license category B, for license classification small b. That's all for the contract data, Madam Chair.
Please, thank you. You may proceed to other topics.
Any modification to the bidding documents shall be identified as an amendment. Request for clarifications on any part of the bidding documents or for an interpretation must be in writing and submitted to the back of the procuring entity concerned at least 10 calendar days before the deadline set for the submission and receipt of bids. The back shall respond to the said request by issuing a bid bulletin or bid supplemental, duly signed by the back chairperson, to be made available to all those who have properly secured the bid docs at least 7 calendar days before the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids, and shall be posted in field jeeps, conspicuous place in the premises of the procuring entity, on the department website and or social media platforms of the procuring entity. Reminder, all prospective bidders are encouraged to inspect the site and took geotag photos of it before the procurement process. Shown is the vicinity map and geotag photos of project or contract 26 KF 0049. From Kapatagan Municipal Hall, it would take 4 minutes ride from the site, which is approximately 2.2 kilometers. For the contract 26 KF 0050, the vicinity map and geotag photo, from Lala Municipal Hall, it would take 5 minutes ride from the site, which is approximately 4.4 kilometers. Shown is the BOQ of contract ID 26 KF 0049. Shown is the BOQ of contract ID 26 KF 0050. The minimum work experience requirements for key personnel are as follows. On the other hand, for the minimum equipment required, these are the minimum equipments required to complete the contract. Shown is the typical traffic signages layout. As per the readiness of the contracts, shown are the approved detailed engineering design plan and program of work for the project 26 KF 0049 and 26 KF 0050. General elevation for 26 KF 0049 and general elevation for 26 KF 0050. Shown is the steel finger expansion joint for 26 KF 0049 and 26 KF 0050. For 26 KF 36 rebid, the minimum work experience requirements for key personnel are as follows. On the other hand, for the minimum equipment required, these are the minimum equipments required to complete the contract. As per the readiness of the contracts, shown are the approved detailed engineering design plan for 26 KF 36 rebid. For the vicinity map, from Kapatagan Municipal Hall, it would take 4 minutes ride from the site, which is approximately 1.9 kilometer. Shown is the BOQ of the contract. Typical roadway section, pavement marking details. For contract 26 KF 0054, the minimum work experience requirements for key personnel are as follows. On the other hand, for the minimum equipment required, these are the minimum equipments required to complete the contract. As per the readiness of the contracts, shown are the approved detailed engineering design plan. For the vicinity map, from Lala Municipal Hall, it would take 15 minutes ride from the site, which is approximately 9.4 kilometer. Shown is the BOQ of the contract. The typical roadway section. We require all contractors doing business in our department to be registered with the DPWH CWR system as per DO 51 series of 2010. Always monitor and update your documents. Expired CPA files will affect your eligibility results. Make it a habit to attach your Class A and Class B documents for your advantage. Bid submission may be done manually or electronically. However, you may be allowed to submit its eligibility requirements electronically with certification under oath as to the correctness of the statements made and completeness and authentic of documents submitted. Link for online submission is as shown. Under Section 54, Submission and Receipt of Bids. 54.1, bidders shall submit their bids through their respective duly authorized representatives using the forms specified in the bid docs in 2 separate sealed bid envelopes, and which shall be submitted simultaneously. The first shall contain the technical component of the bid, including the eligibility requirements under Section 52 of the IRR, and the second shall contain the financial component of the bid. 54.2, the first bid envelope shall contain the following technical documents: PhilGIP's Certificate of Registration, Platinum Membership, in accordance with Section 20 of this IRR, Procurement to be performed overseas shall be subject to the guidelines issued by the GPPB. Pickup license and registration, statement of all ongoing government and private contracts, statement of SLCC, NFCC computation, JVA and pickup special license, if applicable, bid security in prescribed form, amount and validity period, project requirements, which shall include the following. First, organizational chart for the procurement project to be bid. List of contractors, personnel, list of contractors, major equipment units which are owned, leased, or under purchase agreements, supported by proof of ownership or certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor or vendor for the duration of the project, as the case may be. And omnibus sworn statement in accordance with section 54.3 of this IRR, which is now 1 to 11. Sworn affidavit of eligibility and beneficial ownership. Then additional for requirement for corporations, latest general information sheet reflecting the beneficial ownership information duly received by the SEC. Lastly, for projects costing more than 30 million, ISO 9001:2015 certification. For 54.4, the second bid envelope shall contain the financial documents as specified in the PBDs. Financial bid form must be in accordance with the prescribed form. Duly signed bid price in the BOQ. Duly signed detailed estimates, including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of construction materials, labor rates, and equipment rentals used in coming up with the bid, and the cash flow by quarter and payment schedule. These are the forms attached in our bid docs, the bid form. Cash flow by quarter, bid securing declaration. Under Rule 7, Section 56 and 57 of RA 12009, bid and bid security validity period is 120 calendar days from the date of the opening of bids. Should it become necessary to extend the validity of the bids and its securities, the procuring entity shall request in writing all those who submitted bids for such extension before the expiration date, therefore. Shown is the organizational chart. List of personnel, list of equipments, omnibus sworn statement, item 1 to 11. We will be using LCRB for this procurement process. As mentioned in section 58 of the said RA, the BAC shall check the submitted documents of each bidder against a checklist of required documents to ascertain if they are all present using a non-discretionary pass or fail criterion as stated in the instructions to bidders. The EBC shall be the upper limit or ceiling for acceptable bid prices. If a bid price, as evaluated and calculated in accordance with this IRR, is higher than the ABC, the bidder submitting the same shall be automatically disqualified. Under section 61.2, the BAC shall immediately conduct a detailed evaluation of all bids using non-discretionary criteria in considering the following. First, completeness of the bid. Second, the arithmetical correction. Bids shall then be ranked in the ascending order of their total calculated bid prices, as evaluated and corrected for computation errors, and other bid modifications to identify the LCB. Total calculated bid prices as evaluated and corrected for computational errors and other bid modifications which exceed the ABC shall be disqualified. Within 5 calendar days from receipt by the bidder of the notice from the back that the bidder has the LCB, the bidder shall submit all the eligibility documents supporting its PhilJIP's certificate of registration, platinum membership, its latest income and business tax returns filed for the preceding quarter, which should be not earlier than 2 quarters from the date of submission and receipt of bid, and other appropriate licenses and permits required by law and stated in the bidding documents like tax clearance, mayor's permit, DTI, or SEC. Further, prospective bidders should not be included on the blacklisted contractor of GPPB. Moreover, for the technical requirements, key personnel, minimum work requirements should be satisfied. Availability and commitment of major construction equipment as per DO 58 series of 2012. Performance in ongoing government and private contracts as per DO 127 series of 2018. Lastly, for the financial requirement, bidders in FCC shall be verified to ensure that the bidder can sustain the operating cash flow of the transaction. Failure to submit any of the post-qualification requirements on time or a finding against the veracity thereof shall disqualify the bidder for award. We would like to emphasize the second and third section of this DO. For construction of building and bridges, accredited PE shall be assigned by the contractors. These are the published DOs on accreditation of DPWH contractors and consultants PEs, provisional PEs, and testimonial PEs. Please do check if nasa mga listahan yung PEs nyo to avoid violation on 3-strike policy. Those contractors who plan to apply for accreditation for their personnel kindly refer DO 118 Series 2024. Guidelines on the accreditation and assignment of contractors and consultants project engineers. Shown are the minimum materials testing equipment for medium contractors. Shown are the minimum materials testing equipment for small contractors as per DO 11 series of 2017. Pursuant to item 34.3 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184, and to ensure that all DPWH projects are completed without delay, all back are hereby directed to strictly apply, among others, during the conduct of post-qualification or award of contract, the following guidelines. During post-qualification, the BAC shall determine the bidder's compliance through declared LLCC, competence and experience of the bidder's key personnel, availability and commitment, and/or inspection and testing for the required capacities and operating conditions of major equipment units. Performance of the bidder in its ongoing government and private contracts. If any of these ongoing contracts shows single contract with negative slippage of at least 15%, 2 or more contract with negative slippage of 10%, failure of the contractor to commence repair works on ongoing contracts within 7 days and to complete them within 30 days after the receipt of the procuring entities notice of defects and deficiencies. Failure of contractor to commence repair works on contracts with pending certificate of acceptance within 30 days and to complete the works within 90 days after receipt of the procuring entity's notice of defects and failures. Substandard quality of work as per contract plans and specifications. Unsatisfactory performance of the contractor's obligations as per contract terms and conditions at the time of inspection, or liquidated damages currently imposed on the contractor. results of the CPEs. If the BAC verifies any of these deficiencies to be due to the contractor's fault or negligence, the agency shall disqualify the contractor from the award for the procurement of infrastructure projects. Shown is DO 28 Series 2024. 3 strike policy in the procurement of contracts. Grounds A and B falls during receipt of bids, while ground C fall during eligibility screening, bid evaluation, and post-qualification. So, withdrawal of bid, late submission of bids without the valid reason, patently insufficient bid, during eligibility screening, expired FILGIP certificate, during bid evaluation, during post-qualification, if a bidder commits any of these 3 major offenses mentioned 3 times within a year, starting from the approved date of the resolution recommending the imposition of strike 1, first warning, which is counted as day 1 through day 365, and if these 3 offenses are of similar or identical nature, it will trigger the enforcement of the stipulated administrative penalty, suspension from participating of all DPWH procurement activities and entering into contract with any DPWH procuring entity. Moreover, the 0115 series of 2021, this is about your CFA's certificate of final acceptance. So please kindly settle this before biddings.
Okay,
Now-
can we proceed to
Now, after determining the lowest calculated responsive bid, the procuring entity shall award the contract to the said LCRB with its submitted price or calculated bid price, whichever is lower. Within 10 calendar days from the receipt of notice of award, the LCRB are required to submit these following documents: notice of award with the bidder's signed conform, authority of signing official or board resolution or secretary's certificate. For a joint venture JV, contractors PCAB special JV license and JV agreement, performance security in any of the forms specified in the instructions to bidders, use form DPWH INFR 43 or DPWH INFR 44 as applicable. Construction methods, use form DPWH INFR 45. Construction schedule in the form of PERT or CPM diagram or precedence diagram and bar chart with S-curve and cash flow. Use form DPWH INFR 46. Professional Regulatory Commission, PRC, license number and tax identification number, TIN of each key personnel. Manpower schedule, equipment utilization schedule, construction safety and health program, contractors or risk insurance, latest income tax and business returns duly stamped and received by BIR. For our local contractor, certification under oath stating that the contractor is free and clean of all tax liabilities. For a foreign bidder, valid PCAB license and registration for the type and cost of contract to be bid. When the treaty or international or executive agreement expressly allows submission of the PCAB license and registration for the type and cost of the contract at hand as a precondition to the NOAA, PDM, and anti-tip management plan. These are three forms of performance security. Cash or cashier's manager's check issued by the universal or commercial bank, 10% of the bid amount. Bank draft or guarantee or irrevocable letter of credit issued by a universal or commercial bank, also 10% of the bid amount. Surety bond callable upon demand issued by a surety or insurance company duly certified by the Insurance Commission as authorized to issue such security, 30% of the bid amount. Shown is the insurance certificate.
Panahon.
Under rule
Deadline of submission.
Okay, thank you. Reminder, the opening of bids will be on July 14th. Yeah. Yeah.
Next na ba yun?
July 15th rather. Thank you. Since all contract data, eligibility requirements, technical and financial components, including award are all discussed, the conference is now open. For question and clarification from the participating bidders. Since there's no question and clarification from the participating bidders, may I request Vice Chairman Engineer Anderson Makamin for the adjournment of this three-day conference.
I move for the adjournment of this recent conference.
Tapos po yan.
Second page.
Thank you, everyone. With no further matters and the motion is duly seconded, this three-day conference is hereby adjourned. At nga, ipapos is of 5.
Kaya huwag ka maluhaan ko mag-stop.
Oh,
Oo, ka naman siya padulong.
ikaw naman to.
Mga kwan.